Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Peplink. Today's host is Jason, Technical Marketing Engineer, and he'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box, and I'll have them at the end of today's presentation. Jason, thank you so much for being with us here today. I am finished for now. You can go ahead and take it on over.
All right, thanks, Julie. As she said, my name is Jason Krupp. I'm one of the technical marketing engineers over here at Peplink, and I am happy to be here today to talk about how our Peplink product can slot in and simplify a number of enterprise branch networking problems or situations that may come up. Just a quick go through of what we're going to be hitting on today. We'll talk a bit about the Peplink advantage, define what an SD-WAN is and how SpeedFusion matches that criteria. And then we'll start to go into some of those enterprise branch networking situations, and then close, of course, with Q&A. First up, a little bit about ourselves. Peplink is founded in 2006, currently holding about over 30 granted patents regarding SpeedFusion SD-WAN. We've always considered ourselves a comprehensive wired and wireless SD-WAN solution provider for any deployment. Peplink is a strong global brand with over 500 partners and resellers in over 70 countries around the world, each helmed with passionate industry evangelists telling everyone how we can make a positive impact on your network solutions. We are an effective, agile team of 127 people, of which 81 are dedicated R&D engineers. We keep everything in-house. One of the main reasons is because we have a rapid open feedback loop that feeds into the workflow process. Whether it's hardware, software, RF, mechanical, it doesn't matter. This is our baby. And we do have a direct communication path with the end user and partner teams at forum.peplink.com. There is a whole mix of people within the forum, from staff to other partners to the end users themselves. Everyone's there to try and help everybody else out and answer questions as they come up. One of the recent highlights that has certainly shown that we appear to be on the right path as a company is being recognized by the Gartner Corporation in their Magic Quadrant for WAN Edge Infrastructure. This is our first time making the report, and it is something we are very proud of. Well, how did we get there? By defining and taking our spot in the SD-WAN infrastructure. I mean, let's face it, the way in which business work is changing. We're becoming more and more decentralized. Work is done abroad, and consistent internet is key to how to continue. Corporate networks have got to change as well, and that's where software-defined wide area networks, or an SD-WAN, has started to crop up. SD-WANs bring unparalleled agility and cost saving to business networking. An SD-WAN solution can connect your branches and data centers, optimize your network performance, and doing this for about a third of the cost of traditional WAN solutions on the market. Kind of comparing and contrasting what we mean by those key differences, when you take a look at a traditional WAN, a bonded T, a fiber connection, etc., they can get rather expensive to keep that reliability for the SLA. They're not very scalable. You got one pipe in, one pipe out, making it also fairly inflexible. And there's not really a lot of cloud-based management tools to be able to keep an eye on things. You have to have boots on the ground in order to get things done. SD-WAN flips all that on its head. It's extreme reliability at about a third of the cost by using consumer-grade internet connections and aggregating them together into something greater than the sum of their parts. You can make this, it's extremely flexible in that regard then, because you can freely add and remove links as the need arises. And with our cloud-based management tool, in our case, it's in Control 2. You can centrally manage the entire network from abroad. An SD-WAN router simplifies and consolidates your network by replacing a number of pieces of equipment on the network. An SD-WAN router can replace load balancers, a VPN termination point, WAN optimizers, standard routers, firewalls, and a whole lot more. An SD-WAN is cloud optimized. On this map here, you can see how in our solution, we have it deployed in a number of data centers all over the world on all of the major platforms currently going: Azure, AWS, GCE, etc. Going into some of the challenges that come in that SD-WAN solution can answer, the SD-WAN solution is going to have to be able to provide a lightweight replacement for traditional WAN routers and be agnostic to the delivery method, basically meaning to be able to take the internet connection for where it really doesn't matter the kind of source. Peplink routers do exactly that, enabling you to build an SD-WAN solution using multiple technologies, an MPLS, a cellular, a fiber, a cable modem, it doesn't matter. An SD-WAN solution has to be able to provide a secure VPN and have the ability to offload traffic closer to the edge router. Basically meaning it's got to have a local breakout for that the internet-bound traffic to be able to automatically take care of and secure routing from branch to cloud locations, and to be able to customize application-level quality of service. SpeedFusion does exactly this, giving you that secure connection between your central office, the branch offices, encrypted with 256-bit AES military-grade encryption, and giving you local network access to the cloud resources wherever you're at. An SD-WAN solution has to dramatically simplify matters as it relates to the management configuration as well as deployment of those WANs on your network. Seamless failover is key. Being able to use the best mix of consumer and private private internet circuits at each location, and to be able to optimize things accordingly. In Control 2 is where this comes into play, the ability to get full control over your network just from that single cloud-based interface. Traffic steering based on business policies, and SD-WAN has to allow for load balancing across multiple internet connections efficiently and dynamically. We actually do that as well with our traffic steering policies that you set up within the UI or from In Control itself. It then becomes a set it and forget it box, being able to make intelligent decisions to direct the application traffic flow based on the rules you're putting into play. All this comes into play with what we like to call our SD-WAN controller in Control 2. You can take a look at this, of course, at incontrol2.peplink.com. In Control 2 is our cloud-based monitoring, configuration, and management system. It has a whole suite of zero-touch configuration options, whether it comes down to SpeedFusion or the SD-WAN itself, firewall policies, access control, etc. There is a comprehensive reporting package made available to you as well to take a look at bandwidth utilization, client utilization, LAN client connectivity, etc. And all of this is included with a device warranty. It's basically a value add when you get the Peplink gear. It's robust, it's complete, and there's no reason you shouldn't already be aware of it. So let's talk a little more about SpeedFusion itself. SpeedFusion, of course, is Peplink's patented technology to create a single VPN across all available internet connections that are tasked to it. Bandwidth from the multiple WANs are bonded at the packet level, encrypted again with that military-grade 256-bit AES, and it gives you aggregation, even for a single user or session, as well as persistence or hot failover. If a WAN does lose connection, you do not lose the session and are able to keep going. With a SpeedFusion SD-WAN, you're combining multiple consumer or commodity links, saving you upwards of 90% of your network cost, migrating away from the more expensive solutions out on the market. You're still achieving almost 100% uptime by aggregating and bonding these connections together and saving you a great deal of money doing so. Over time, this adds up, effectively giving your customer cash back when you migrate to SpeedFusion. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts a little bit. Requirements for SpeedFusion. First off, this is a Peplink to Peplink VPN, so you do need at least 2 SpeedFusion capable units minimum. Now, different levels of Peplink PepWave devices create different levels of VPN SpeedFusion, which we'll get into in a moment. One thing to keep in mind, all of our Peplink products are capable at least of base level PEP VPN. You do also need to have at least one public IP on one of the internet connections that you're going to create the tunnel with. Now, if this isn't a static public IP, just go ahead and register it with a supported DNS service, a dynamic DNS service, and we'll be able to create SpeedFusion to the host name that you've assigned to the internet connection. We do have a Peplink dynamic DNS service that you can set up straight within IC2 as well if you don't want to go through some of the other ones. We have multiple configuration types for SpeedFusion, point-to-point and mesh. And we have multiple deployment methods, whether you're doing this straight within the Peplink UI directly or from the cloud with our zero-touch configuration options through InControl 2. Here's how it works. Sessions get encrypted and broken into packets. These packets are then sent across all available internet connections you got the tunnel with. Packets are then decrypted once they hit the other side and reassembled into the session at the remote Peplink device. As you can see from the diagram here, it doesn't necessarily mean building to building. We're just talking Peplink to Peplink, depending on where that Peplink is deployed. Now here's where the magic happens. Transmission and reception are done at the speed of all the internet connections combined, minus a bit of overhead for the VPN. And as I said, we have multiple levels of SpeedFusion you can deploy at. Where everything begins is PEP VPN, which is in essence an IPsec analog, but much easier to set up. And then it has all of the full SpeedFusion's reliability features bundled within it. Next up, hot failover. This is what we call session persistence. This gives you the ability to switch from one internet connection to another while keeping the session intact. And this, again, it doesn't matter the session, whether it's a VoIP call, a video stream, a file transfer. If you have a WAN go down, you're going to fail over to the other ones without dropping the session. WAN smoothing is more so consistency for those real-time applications. You're using the internet connections in tandem to create a single jitter-free stream. And then finally, bandwidth bonding. This gives you the ability to combine the speed and bandwidth of all the internet connections together, giving you something greater than the sum of its parts. Hot failover again means persistence. Changing connections while keeping your session intact. Reliability is key here. Uptime is key here. In-vehicle connectivity, areas where you know you have poor cell coverage and need to mitigate accordingly. Maritime internet while you're out on a cruise ship, for example. WAN smoothing is again that real-time application. Reliability, consistency more so than horsepower. VoIP calls, real-time video conferencing, or real-time video and radio broadcasts are where you're going to really see this shine. And then finally, bandwidth bonding. This is kind of where we want everything under the sun in essence. Employee shuttle Wi-Fi, telemedicine buses, mobile office applications. This is where bonding and that raw horsepower really comes into play. So again, hot failover, think unbreakable sessions. WAN smoothing is where you're looking for that reliability, and bonding is where we want that speed to come into play. One such deployment that has taken advantage of the Peplink solution is the town of Tonawanda, New York. They are currently load balancing between a 50 meg MPLS Fios connection as well as a pre-existing wireless peer-to-peer link. We're currently connecting 9 sites to a central headquarters with SpeedFusion, and these numbers never cease to amaze me. They are saving upwards of 92% off of their bottom line and gaining 15% more bandwidth. They were originally spending about $96,000 for their internet plan, dropped it down to $7,000. It's incredible. And that with an ROI of only just about 5 months, impressive. Let's get to why we were here. Enterprise branch networking, the ability to get that broadband internet access anywhere you put things into place. As we've touched on, today's marketplace is becoming more and more decentralized. We have branch offices in remote locations, telecommuting employees that need access to headquarters for the day-to-day. This is where SpeedFusion shines. Peplink's line of products makes that connectivity easy and simple with SpeedFusion. When you deploy this with our multi-WAN router line, the balance, as well as our virtual termination point Fusion Hub, or even into our cellular devices with the Max Mobile gear. Hot failover is going to keep your network up and running by routing around those intermittent connection failures that you seem to, that crop up just on the day-to-day. In Control 2 will further define how you are failing over from one WAN to the other to dynamically respond to whatever might crop up. More bandwidth means bandwidth bonding. You have the ability to scale up, add additional internet connections to your solution. Peplink gear does support up to 13 internet connections via Ethernet, as well as a USB connection, and a few of our gear actually can take a Wi-Fi as WAN approach as well. And this is all dead simple to set up. Going through the UI, there's a setup wizard that'll take you through the basics, honestly, in minutes. And then from In Control 2, zero-touch configuration options become possible by building a profile from the cloud, pushing it down to devices en masse. Remote client connectivity. If you are looking to just have a user who may be out at a conference, a temporary event site, etc., needs down and dirty connectivity back to headquarters. All of our gear does support L2TP with IPsec. And then for legacy devices, we do also support PPTP as well for that PC to Peplink connectivity. SpeedFusion, again, is an always-on military-graded encrypted connection between your headquarters and locations to get those resources. So where, of course, L2TP is kind of an as-need basis, SpeedFusion is an always-on connection. Harrington Industry Plastics has definitely understood this distinction, having 43 balanced 380s at their various branches, going back to an HA pair of balanced 1350s at headquarters. We replaced site-to-site MPLS links with the SpeedFusion VPN and saving them upwards of $100,000 annually, giving them about 4 times bandwidth that they had before. And we were able to get this 43 branch solution in play in under a year. One of the new products that we are proud to talk about that will slot into some of the more remote locations is our new Balance 30 Pro. This is a 2 Ethernet WAN with an embedded LTE-A cell modem as in play to be able to load balance and create SpeedFusion with those connections. On the LAN side, we do have 4-port LAN switch with PoE output at 802.3AT classification. And then it does have a 2x2 11AC MIMO AP built into it as well. For such a small package, it's actually got a bit of horsepower under the hood at 400 meg throughput, supports that hot failover SpeedFusion level of things, does have the ability to deploy application level QoS. It does have a basic content filter as well as an SPI firewall within the UI. And you can, of course, take care of things from the cloud within Control too. Common application is going to be that small office networking solution. With those PoE LAN ports, you get connectivity on the inside by simplifying the bird's nest of power cables underneath the desk. SpeedFusion will allow you to deploy WAN smoothing for video conferencing as it comes up. And of course, if your internet connection, cable modem, DSL, whatever fails, the built-in 4G LTE connection can automatically take over to be used in that hot failover state. This gives you reliability and gives you the ability to have those crucial services stay up and running by migrating around network outages. Retail connectivity is a no-brainer for this as well. Those PoE LAN ports can power IP phones, point-of-sale terminals, Wi-Fi devices, and a whole lot more. The 2 Ethernet and the 1 cellular give you the uptime you're looking for with hot failover. And then if you want to start to really get silly with things, we do have our ad delivery service option, allowing you to start to monetize with a few options offered Wi-Fi at the business. Larger locations, your headquarters of life, you're going to want to take a look at some of the bigger devices. In our deployment example here, we're using one of our, that is the 2500, giving you the ability to combine those multiple internet connections, increase the throughput, being able to use that additional bandwidth for whatever is necessary. HD cameras on site, digital signage, maybe from our PetSign, PetZim solution, VoIP, as well as a whole bunch more. Now, some of the more common pieces of equipment other than the Balance 30 Pro that you might want to think about for such deployments for the remote branch site, if we're just looking for more so failover opportunities, the BR1 LTE-A or standard LTE devices, the Balance 30 Pro is a great way to go about it. If you are looking for those that are full SpeedFusion compatible at the remote site for that aggregation opportunities, a Balance 210, 310, or the Balance 1 is not a bad approach to take. And then back at headquarters, we have our big devices, our Balance 1350, the 2500, or if you want to go virtual to terminate against, we do have a variety of Fusion Hub instances that you can use as well. Speaking of branch connectivity, speaking of temporary event deployment scenarios, one of our new products, the PDX, is a great approach to use. This is tough. This is portable. It is enclosed in a Peplink case enclosure, 400 mega throughput with 4 LTE-A modems, a USB and 2 gigabit Ethernet ports with full SpeedFusion support, as well as a comprehensive in Control 2 management to get things set up quickly. The PDX takes a bit of a modular approach. On the side, you will see 3 bays that you can actually deploy our SpeedFusion engines in to bring the total of internet connections up to 10 LTE or LTE-A connections for you to use. Again, temporary site connectivity is what we're really talking about. Being able to just drop this Peplink case in, disaster sites, mobile headquarters, etc. It does have PoE output capabilities to power additional APs straight from the case as well. Streaming videos from difficult to reach locations is another perfect approach. Again, this is a self-contained unit, just plug and play, especially when you pair it with Control 2. Now, talking as far as branch connectivity is concerned, we have to bring up Hickory Farms. During the holiday season, you're going to see a number of temporary kiosks cropping up of Hickory Farms selling their delicious sausages that they have in play. Over 560 Max BR1s are rolled out to each of these deployments. And Control 2 was pivotal for branch cloning, proactive monitoring, and get these kiosks up and running quickly and easily. It was very easy to set up. You don't need to have an IT person on site because we're able to handle this from the cloud. And to be able to deploy VLAN segmentation gives each branch the necessary security and peace of mind they need to ensure that information stays private. Also, talking about remote branch networking, you have to bring up VoIP possibilities as well. With VoIP, of course, your service quality is ultimately depending on the last mile, that end leg on the customer side. Latency is going to make connections difficult, conversation hitch and stutter, and the customer is always going to push back on you saying it's not their fault, it's your fault. Now, MPLS is an expensive way to get that consistency you need. But again, what have we been talking about today? SpeedFusion and the Peplink solution. The ability to combine multiple commodity links into that super reliable VPN connection. Now, with the smaller units, again, there is a USB port available for cellular thumbstick flexibility, giving you even further reliability to bringing in another internet connection to smooth out the tunnel. Hot failover, if you do lose a link, others are going to keep up and running, keeping the call in play as well, and to be able to do this cheaper than most of your average MPLS solutions out on the market. QoS gives you the ability to prioritize VoIP traffic over non-essential applications that are going through your day-to-day. This gives you further stability and reliability to the VoIP stream that you're using, and it's all easily done within the UI. Common way to deploy matters, so at your remote site, we have a Peplink Balance 210 with a couple phones on the inside. And then for the PBX at headquarters, we're going to deploy one of our virtual Fusion hubs. With the multiple internet connections on the remote site bonding back to a big pipe at the data center, we form SpeedFusion. WAN smoothing is going to fill the gaps in that connectivity, making a reliable connection from connections that are maybe a little more inconsistent. And thanks to SpeedFusion, if we do lose a connection, you're not going to drop the call. Network deployments, again, for the customer site, our Balance 30 Pro is a great approach to take there with that built-in SIL module as well, giving you that flexibility. Bonding, we could take a look at a Balance 210 or even like our workhorse of the Max mobile line with the HD2. And then on headquarters, Fusion Hub is a great approach to take, as well as some of the bigger enterprise modules, probably starting with about a Balance 580. These are not, the end-all be-alls here, but more just kind of the common recommendations that most people are using with such a deployment. Plus, social enterprises taking advantage of the consistency we bring to VoIP in 37 sites currently. We have Balance 1350 at headquarters, Balance 310s at the remote branches, and this first off, the day-to-day got smoothed out, Citrix, VoIP calls, etc., and then they were able to save money by migrating away from those lease lines. Well, this brings me to the end of our talk today here. Just one last thing I'll talk about is we're starting to dip our toe into the marketing game a little more. In your partner pavilion, you're going to see the opportunity to order a number of promotional materials that if you need them for trade shows, etc. It's just you log into your pavilion, go to the Peplink store, and then under accessories, marketing materials, go ahead and order. We have a variety of options available: pens, notepads, pins, etc. Get them and add that little something extra to whatever your trade show booths are going to start to look like. I'm trying to keep you up to date on the latest and greatest here, but if you truly want to stay up to date, we're on all of the major social media channels, as well as our community forum is very, very active. If you have a pressing question that I'm not able to answer currently, or if something crops up in the middle, at 2 a.m. tonight and while you're sleeping, go ahead and post it on the forum. There's a number of people there who can also try to help out. That's going to wrap things up on my end. Julie, if we have any questions, I am happy to answer whatever they got.
Thank you very much, Jason, for that wonderful presentation. And yes, we do have questions. Let's go ahead and get started. Yep. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, regarding SD-WAN routers, will they work with no compatibility issues with other product brands?
Well, if we're talking about SpeedFusion, which is our SD-WAN solution, no. It's, as I had mentioned, it's Peplink to Peplink. That doesn't mean box to box. You can, with Fusion Hub, terminate a tunnel against that, but it does got to be SpeedFusion capable, a SpeedFusion capable Peplink product on both ends.
Great, thank you so much. Next question. How many admins can access the InControl 2 per location?
Well, out of the box, there isn't a limit. You go in there and you are setting up credentials, so however many that you set up is how many are going to have access to it. Now, that being said, you can create an account for someone for your InControl 2 account at different levels. You have your super org admin who has access to everything associated, and you compare it down to what we call our group admin. This kind of goes into the how we structure InControl 2. Is think of it as kind of a top-down approach. At the very top, you have their keys to the kingdom. They have access to everything, and then it pairs down accordingly. You can have someone just have access to a particular group of devices, to only have access to a dashboard, for example, if you want someone to only have access to GPS information for fleet tracking purposes. This is all easily done. Ultimately, you're determining who has what level of access within Control 2 when you're adding them to the account.
Thank you for that, Jason. Next question here. Is InControl 2 built-in included with all hardware purchases, or is it an added software download?
It is, well, as I'd mentioned in there, it is a value add. It's included in the device warranty. InControl 2, again, is cloud-based. InControl2.peplink.com is where you go to set up your account as well as, and then register your equipment. But there's no additional cost involved with it. It's part of your warranty. Now, warranty is a year out of the box. After the year, you can re-up your warranty, and that will continue to get you access to InControl 2. For the smaller class of equipment, where warranty options become a little sparser, you do have the ability to buy just an InControl 2 subscription. It doesn't bring a device back under warranty, but it does continue to allow it to call into InControl 2. Again, you have flexibility as far as how you want to do it, but out of the box, no additional cost.
Thank you, Jason. You may have already answered this next question, but I'm still going to ask. If
Sure.
if the warranty is expired, what are the limitations that you cannot access under InControl 2?
Well, it's just that. If you're out of warranty, it doesn't call in anymore. What you will see is that it shows as offline. And then if you go to the device level, where you can keep an eye on the warranty information, you'll see, hey, it expired on X date. Yes, simply put, without the warranty or the subscription, you don't have access to InControl 2 is the short of it. Now, from the UI itself, functionality doesn't change. Again, this is value add. This is the ability to decentralize management and monitoring options. You know, it doesn't break your box or anything like that without warranty.
Thank you, Jason. Next question here. Regarding SpeedFusion, how many carriers can I connect maximum?
Well, maximum, we'd be talking about the balance 13, well, I suppose, no, 2500 is 12. The balance 1350 has 13 Ethernet WAN connections as well as a USB port for for that 4G connectivity. So technically 14 in a box.
Thank you very much. Next question here. Can we send the chart reference money saved over the years with SpeedFusion? Is this something that you have that you could perhaps send to me and I can distribute to the team?
Are you talking like the slide I had at the introduction?
Possibly. Did you have a chart reference regarding money saved over the years?
I had an example at the front here. Let me go back to, if that's the case, you know, it's not from, it's an example and doesn't point to a particular deployment. As far as the money saved application, again, that where that comes into play is migrating away from the more expensive solutions on the market, your fibers, your T1s, what have you, and still getting that same consistency with our SD-WAN solution using cable modems, DSLs, etc. And it's from there you can absolutely see the savings and how it'll affect your bottom line.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jason. Next question here. Peplink to Peplink SD-WAN needs a minimum of 2 times SpeedFusion capable units. Can you go over this again? Can you touch on that again?
Yep, sure can. What the question's talking about is what are the requirements needed to deploy our SD-WAN SpeedFusion? SpeedFusion, again, is a Peplink to Peplink, a point-to-point VPN that gives you the ability to aggregate or bond all the internet connections that you have within the Peplink together. So at minimum, what that means is if we're deploying in a point-to-point, one location to one location, that's 2 boxes, or excuse me, 2 Peplink devices, one at each location, each having their own internet connections, and then you create our SD-WAN between them. Now you can certainly expand upon that depending on how you're deploying things. Probably the most common approach is a star or a hub and spoke deployment, where you have a number of branch offices pointing back at a central location. Each of those locations do need a Peplink device, again, whether a physical box, a balance, or a max, or a virtual, which are Fusion Hub. Peplink to Peplink and SpeedFusion capable. That's what I'm talking about.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question here. Regarding Hoyt failover, it allows one to change connections while not losing connection. Is this manual or is it an automatic change?
It's an automatic change for session persistence or hot failover. So we have our hypothetical point-to-point deployment set up, each having 2 internet connections each, like a balance 210 at each location, for example. You start a VoIP call that it's going to use both of the internet connections bonded together, hit the tunnel, and then out the other end before going to wherever it needs to. So if one of those 2 internet connections drops mid-call, automatically it's going to route to the it's going to continue on with the other WAN rather. That's at its most basic level. There is certainly advanced settings, especially on current firmware builds, that give you a lot more options, subtunnels that we can create within SpeedFusion now, the ability to assign traffic steering to subtunnels that, may supersede some of those basic tenets, but at the base level, absolutely. Hot failover is automatic and keep you up and running. That reliability, that uptime is what we're looking for. It's what you're looking for as well.
Thank you very much, Jason. A couple more questions. What
Sure.
if a customer wants to use SpeedFusion for a single location where they have 3 internet providers? Can they combine all of them?
Well, again, SpeedFusion is point to point. So, I mean, if you have a location with 3 internet connections, absolutely. You would have like a balance 310 or 305, 310, 380 at the minimum, depending on how big those internet connections are. But we do still need another point to terminate against. Now, one of our new offerings on the Fusion Hub side of things is what we call Fusion Hub Solo. This allows for a one-peer connection, so like this one-office deployment could be done here. You do still need to deploy Fusion Hub Solo someplace to terminate against, however, but I mean, Solo is free on our website. Go grab it. There's no reason not to, and this can absolutely be done.
Thank you so much, Jason. Next question. Regarding PDX deployment, how many users can connect simultaneously?
Depends on the Peplink box. The bigger the box, the more peers, in essence. And if we're talking on the LAN side connectivity, your PDX or whatnot, again, I would go with one of the bigger boxes just to ensure you have the horsepower to handle all those concurrent calls coming in, as well as if you're routing your day-to-day through there as well.
Great. Last question here, Jason. Regarding SpeedFusion, SpeedFusion supports both upload and download bandwidth bonding. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. Now, on some of the newer firmware builds, you can start to get a little silly with things, but again, at the basic level, absolutely, upload and download.
Jason, thank you so much for answering all of those questions for us this morning, and thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown here today, you may find them at www.microcom.us. Please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Jason, thank you again for everything today.
Julie and everyone listening, thank you so much for letting me chat with you today. Questions, you know where to find us. We're here to help. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.